It's been a productive second quarter for ESA. There have been some big announcements from government, and we've launched a couple of reports. And I just wanted to update our members and other stakeholders as we head into the summer. In April, we launched our report with Eunomia, looking at the costs and benefits of the introduction of universal curbside collections for small mixed WEEE and batteries. A critical issue for our industry is the cost of battery-related fires, and this now exceeds over £1 billion every year, and it places our employees at risk, and it also places a significant burden on local taxpayers through increased insurance premiums, as well as the actual damage that's caused from the fires themselves. Batteries and electrical devices placed into the wrong bin, ending up in the wrong stream, are causing over 1,200 fires now every single year, and that's an increase of 70% year on year. Every household in the UK now incorrectly discards of almost 6 kilograms of waste electricals every year, and nationally we throw away more than 3,000 batteries every single minute. Our research with Eunomia found that there could be £6 billion of savings over the next 10 years if we were to implement universal curbside collections. At the moment, only around a quarter of councils offer separate collections of small mixed WEEE. If we were to retrofit and piggyback onto existing services around the country, the capital cost of that could be as little as 70 pence per household. We've shared this research with DEFRA, and we've written to the Minister alongside some of our peers across the sector, urging the government to take stronger action and implement some of the recommendations from this report. Earlier this month, ESA hosted our members' conference, which set out some of the key issues and priorities facing our sector, addressing all the different areas across our work programme. There was in-depth discussion around the work of the Circular Economy Taskforce, which the government established at the back end of last year, and which is in the process of developing a circular economy strategy for England, due to be published in the autumn. At the conference, we also had sessions looking at the packaging reforms and their implementation, as well as the emissions trading scheme and waste crime and regulatory enforcement. We were joined at the conference by key stakeholders and officials, and one of the clear themes that came through on the day was the need for collaboration right across the value chain if we're going to realise a more circular economy. After the conference, we launched our Vision 2040 report at the National Portrait Gallery. We were really pleased to be joined by Minister Cray, as well as Professor Paul Ekins, who is the Deputy Chair of the Government Circular Economy Taskforce. It was great to hear the Minister talking about the government's ambitions and reassuring to hear just what a firm commitment the government has to trying to build a more circular economy in the UK. Our Vision 2040 report sets out how we think the sector can achieve the government's long-term ambitions and targets for realising a circular economy, but doing it by 2040. We think that this can be achieved around 5 key interventions. The first intervention is around reducing waste arisings. We can do this through influencing consumption habits, encouraging more reuse, as well as designing out waste. Secondly, we need to maximise the recyclability and circularity of post-consumer waste. That means using more mono-materials and designing for recyclability. Thirdly, we need to increase participation in services and reduce contamination, and we can do that through more consistent services and stronger use of communications. Fourth, we need to improve our own recycling and waste treatment processes to ensure that process loss is kept to an absolute minimum, and we can achieve that through investment in new technologies. And once we've closed the loop, the final intervention is to stop material from leaking out of it. We need to crack down on waste crime and have stronger enforcement. We need to make sure that exports only happen once they've met an end-of-waste specification. And we need stronger markets and destinations domestically for our recycled materials. Our Vision 2040 report sets out our longer term vision for the sector, but there's obviously still plenty going on at the moment with lots of near-term interventions and implementation of policy that's happening right now. Last month, the government announced a crackdown on waste crime. Measures against fly tipping stole most of the headlines, but also critical for our sector were some of the announcements that reaffirmed the government's commitment to reform of the carriers, brokers and dealers regime. As well as that, Treasury and HMRC are consulting on landfill tax reforms which have the potential to radically change some of the dynamics in our sector. The emissions trading scheme is also going to be a critical driver for our sector in the years ahead. ESA has been working with stakeholders from local government and other parts of the sector, as well as officials across multiple different government departments to try and help influence and refine the detail of what that will look like. Some of the areas that we're looking to iron out include the monitoring and reporting requirements, the scope of which facilities will actually be included in the scheme, potential options for how it might be phased in to help mitigate some of the financial impacts, as well as alignment with the EU since the government announced that the two schemes could be linked. We're continuing to work hard to influence the implementation of DEFRA's packaging reforms, which we recognised in our Vision 2040 report are a critical first step towards getting to a circular economy. Simpler recycling came into effect for businesses back in April, and ESA is pushing DEFRA to try and bring in some statutory guidance to help those waste producers understand their obligations under the new regulations. On packaging EPR, DEFRA has launched an expression of interest for producer-led organisations to bid to become the producer responsibility organisation that will take over the functions of some of the running of the EPR scheme. It's going to be really important for the success of the EPR scheme that producers and our sector are closely aligned. So the ESA remains at the disposal of the prospective bidders to help shape final proposals that work for the interests of everyone across the sector. Before the summer recess, we're expecting the ETS authority to publish the government response to the ETS consultation, and that will set out the detail, the final detail of how energy from waste will be brought into the scheme. As well as that, ESA and our members will continue to work with the Circular Economy Taskforce to help influence a final circular economy strategy that we're expecting to be published in the autumn. The sector has an opportunity to all come together at the ESS Expo at the NEC in Birmingham in September, and we look forward to discussing all of these policy areas and welcoming our members, peers and other stakeholders to the ESA stand.